The one thing about me is that I have always been creative. Last year, I created a 2025 goal bingo card instead of a vision board because I wanted to do things a little bit different. So, I wrote down my goals, created that bingo card layout, and then I filled in each box with a goal to accomplish. The end of the year came around, and I didn't get bingo on every row. But I realized that despite all those empty spaces, I felt full because of the people that I spent it with. And that's just okay with me. In 2026, sure, there's things I want to do differently. But first, I want to take a look at 2025 and see what I really accomplished. Happy New Year, everyone. It is now 2026, and I wanted to reflect on the past year and what that looked like for me because I started off the year by doing one thing, and that was creating a 2025 goal bingo. Had I been thinking a little bit too big? Maybe. A lot happened last year, but I did want to reflect on the things that I was able to accomplish and maybe one things or a couple things that I can do a little bit better. So I ended up cutting out the cubes from the goal bingo. For example, this one was to visit my brother and his dog in Seattle and go to the Arboretum, which is just like a huge place for trees. So I did accomplish that in March. So that's one thing that was done for sure. The next one that I had that I didn't get to put in my journal or just notebook yet is to read 2 more books and listen to more podcasts, like about self-improvement or mindfulness, because those are things that I wanted to improve on last year. So I remember in February of last year, I believe, I read a book about resumes, and while that may sound boring, for me it was very telling because I had left my job and wanted to kind of repivot into a new market, and I wanted to revise my resume and make it as good of an asset as possible to showcase the skills that I did have and do have, and then my ability to learn more as well. And then I read another book later in the year, in November, I think, called Genderqueer. I'm sure I read some stuff in between that, but the ones that I remember most are those 2, at least right now. And the other one was called Genderqueer, and that was actually a banned book. So that was a really cool read, and I think you guys should check it out if you're wanting to read more this year. And then another one that I had was to stay in control of my own actions and emotions. I think that one is one that I'll take with me every year, just because as a person that used to struggle with anger issues when I was younger and not being able to really control them well or let them get the best of me, that was one of my goals, to kind of continue growing and being able to be mindful and process things in a healthier way or cope in a healthier way. And I think I did as good of a job as I could for everything that I went through last year. So I definitely appreciated that. And then, sorry. My dog nephew is like dancing around. I don't know what's going on. Hey, Maddie, if you want to say hey to the camera. Look, I'm filming. I guess he doesn't want to say hello, but he probably just wants to play. But anyways, gotta finish this first. And I put the other ones in here because I actually took a over 40-hour journey, like 48-hour journey to Seattle from Chicago, and across a few states: Montana, North Dakota. I believe we were in Idaho at one point, Minnesota, Wisconsin. We went to Oregon, and then I went to Seattle last. Washington. What the heck? Sorry, I'm over here searching and trying to find. Oh, the pages are sticking together. That's what happened. So there's like a quick little blurb, and one of my goals that I had to was to just have fun posting on YouTube, and I think I did that successfully. I ended up just kind of posting whatever came to mind. At first, I think I started off with these themes, and then I just acted on whatever ideas that I had and put them out there. And that was something that I was able to really enjoy, to be honest. And my goal last year too was to post on YouTube at least like one time a week until April, and I successfully accomplished that. And then I realized I needed to pivot a little bit and post a little bit less to allow myself more time to do other things, which was fine. And then another goal of mine was to declutter my closet and get rid of clothes that didn't fit well, because one thing about me is that I hold on to things that have sentimental value and keep them for years and years, even if I hadn't worn it, even if it is not my style, because I'm like, oh, well, it was a gift and I want to keep it. So I don't know if anyone else struggles with that, but that was just something that was a challenge for me. I also made it a goal to catch up with friends whenever possible, because since I was in Texas at the beginning of last year into the middle of the year to June, it was pretty tough. It was hard to be without friends. I hadn't seen anyone since right around Christmas, about Christmas Eve of 20. I'm sorry. My dog nephew just farted, and it smells like power greens. It just smells like kale, like broccoli, you know, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm trying to stay on track. But anyway, that was a goal of mine, to catch up with friends, and I was able to do that virtually and then eventually in person when I moved back to Chicago, which was good. The thing about me is that I also am willing to try things most times at least once, and November of 2024 is when I decided to move to Texas. And then 7 months later, I said, you know what? I think this isn't for me in this time of my life, or maybe not ever, but I'm glad that I tried it looking back. And I think it was a good opportunity to get somewhere warm. I always wanted to live somewhere warm or with palm trees, and that was two of those things right there that younger me would have been proud of. So I'm just glad that I was able to give it a go, despite it being scary and foreign and just completely new. And then another goal of mine was to try new restaurants and learn more about different foods. And I did try oysters, which I released that video. I tried oysters for the first time in November with my friends in Washington, and that was cool. It was cool. I was proud of myself for doing that, because to be honest, if you would have asked me maybe even just like a year or two prior to that, I probably would have been like, no, I'm not trying that. But also maybe not, because one of my friends really loves seafood, and she got me to try mussels in college. I didn't care for it, but I tried them again a second time. Still didn't care for them, so I was like, okay, I really don't like them. But I was just proud that I was able to try it, and I just thank my friends for encouraging me to do new things always, and we just learn from each other, which I appreciate. And then another one of my highlights from last year was just trying out new hairstyles, different haircuts from February onward. You know, I went from blonde, I went from natural color, my own, comes out of my scalp, the color comes out of my scalp, to blue hair, and that was done with the X Mondo Super Blue by Brad Bondo. Shout out to him. And then in February, I also transferred to, that lasted probably, a week before I changed it, because I was going to a career conference, and I was like, I'm not really sure if bright blue hair is the vibe for this. But I should have kept it, to be honest, because that was just a flop. But anyway, doesn't matter. I went to a cherry brown color because I was like, well, if I gotta go natural, I could try something new. That wasn't my favorite on me, but at least I had tried it. It was a color by Ion, so it was, I believe, just a demi-permanent one. And then fast forward to March, I went blonde again, of course. And then April, I ended up shaving my head completely, because when I was visiting my brother in Seattle, I went to get a haircut. This is embarrassing to admit now, but this is one of the things that I want to grow on to, is just using discernment. I went ahead and got 2 haircuts in the span of 1 week, and I should have known that, I don't know, I should have just thought a bit better about what I was doing, because what I thought was crazy to spend like $70, $75 on a haircut wasn't so bad when I think about how I spent $90 to get 2 different haircuts. So, and there were 2 completely different types. I had been growing out my hair for a minute there, and that's the reason why I didn't want to cut it. And I just decided to bleach it or whatever to lighten it. And then I wanted to do a burst fade. But the guy didn't deliver, because what I've learned about my hair and getting haircuts is that my occipital bone has it looks too like if my haircut is over the level, like over a certain level, like over my eyebrow, if my hair is gone up there, it doesn't look right, especially because my hair is so short right now. My face is just framed really weird and it looks like just Humpty Dumpty, let's just say that. And that's not to like throw shade to myself or anything, it's just an honest thing. It makes my face appear more long, like oblong, you know? And I don't like that. I like for my haircut to shape my face properly because I've already got a round face and I have like these sharp eyebrows. So I wanted to accentuate my looks, not take away. So yeah, that was interesting. So I shaved my head with no guard in April, kind of impulsively, but also just trying to reset all the damage from my hairline being pushed back multiple times. And then in May, I was just back to natural too. And then in June, I went blonde again, of course. I was growing my hair out again to try and do the verse fade yet again. But then it was cut too high yet again. So, more of the story is I've just had not great experiences with barbers, um, trying new ones at least, until I landed upon, of course, it was like last year sometime in Texas. I landed upon someone who finally understood how to cut my hair and to accentuate my features without going too high and also honoring what I wanted. Because I remember going to barbers last year and them doing a complete different haircut than what I asked for. And I'm like, well, it's too late now. It's all the hair's gone. They can't put it back on my head. So I just walked out. Like, at least the fade looks good. At least the taper looks good, right? And being grateful for that part, if anything. So I quickly realized that, it's fine. And then from there on, at the end of August into September, I went and did a bright pink because I'd always wanted to do pink. So that was a dream come true. It was a bubblegum pink by Hero Hero that I decided to go with. And it was cool. It was really cool. I'm actually jumping past. So backtracking to July, I was doing a toner on my blonde hair and it turned out to be like this icy purpley color, which was interesting. And I was only using a T18 toner, which is pretty common in the blonde head space. So I'm not sure why it ended up turning how it did, but it's fine. And then fast forward to October, I ended up doing an orange hairstyle, and that was me trying Good Die Young, which is dyed by Hayley Williams from Paramore, and that was in the color Riot. And I did a jack-o'-lantern design at the back of my head, which was fun as well. And of course, if you want to check out any of these videos or see what I'm talking about, honestly, just look on my page. It's going to be all on there. If you want to check it out, for sure. And like and subscribe. So I can keep making more of these. I'll make them more. I'll make them anyway. But yeah, it definitely is an incentive and it's pretty cool to see your audience growing. So fast forward to November of last year, I actually went and did a Wicked themed hairstyle, which I didn't plan at the beginning of the year. But then I quickly realized like one of my goals was to try new hairstyles, and it was a once in a lifetime opportunity to do it. It felt right. It felt good. Also, it felt so cool. It felt like it was meant to be. And doing that showed me that I can be bold and be brave. Excuse me, and continue to express myself in ways that I want to when it comes to my interests. And I had only seen Wicked in June, but I quickly fell in love with the message and the storyline because, of course, I had seen The Wiz when I was younger, and of course, I had seen some snips of other, things, but I never really knew the true story behind it all. So seeing Wicked Part 1 and then Wicked for Good Part 2, it was honestly just full circle. And so having my cool like pink and green hair, green on this side, pink on that side was amazing. I was considering doing the my eyebrows too, but I was like, I'm just gonna stick with the hair for now. But it's not to say that I can't do something like that in the future. And then in December, I decided to just go green because I thought, why not go green for the fact that it's Christmas, and I had cut down the pink and green pretty much to a level that I could just bleach it over, and that's exactly what I did. And then to kick off 2026, I decided to close that chapter of hair dye for the most part. I still have some pieces of growth, but I decided to close that chapter by taking 2 steps. Excuse me. Well, I'm going to be having to take 2 steps. First one, I already completed, and that is cutting my hair to this very low level and just leaving it untouched, because to be completely vulnerable with you guys right now, I, for a while, struggled with like traction hair loss. And that was one of the big reasons, or the big incentives for me getting my hair cut ever in the first place. But you can see there, I think the reason why I'm saying this too is because for a while I have been hiding it, or trying to hide behind different hairstyles and distract, because I have like a bright hair color so you can't see it that much, or doing blonde. I'd opened up with a friend about this vulnerability of mine, and I think it was back in July or something of that nature. But the reason why I opened up is because it's a true and real struggle that I've had. And I think now is the time to just kind of try to nurture the hair there, or nurture the skin there, the scalp there. Make sure that it has time to rest, reset, and grow and produce strong hair follicles. That is the goal. And it takes being brutally honest with yourself to recognize certain patterns. And back in when I first started high school, 2014, not to age myself there, but back in 2014, I was doing these really tight hairstyles, and then I proceeded to continue to do like lots of tension on those edge pieces, which you can see had affected me negatively. And then I finally ended up shaving it with the shaving a bald with the razor, just like a regular shaving, like 2-3 blade razor, shaving a bald in my freshman year of college, and then proceeding to still do styles that wore my hair down on there, or like just pulled tension on there. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, I learned my lesson now. And for a while I had like scalp tenderness and I didn't really understand it. But once I started listening to my hair and taking out the extensions and just embracing my natural hair and experimenting with my natural hair, doing the shave sides, the undercut at the back, I was finally able to kind of release those things, those insecurities, because it all stemmed from the idea that women should only have longer hair, or the idea that you weren't pretty if you didn't have longer hair. And so when it finally came down to accepting my natural self, representing my curls, not trying to hide them behind twists, not trying to hide them behind extensions, not trying to hide them behind whatever it was that I was doing, and just presenting as me, because it took a while, but I am glad now, looking back, that I decided to force my hand and embrace my true self, like how my hair grew out of my head without altering it. Because in middle school, I had permed it so to straighten it, because I wanted to be like my mom. She had a perm and she was rocking it, and I thought that was what I wanted. In reality, it wasn't. I was just trying to find a way to. I was trying to discover myself, trying to discover what I really liked. Everyone else was rocking straight hair. There were some girls who had someones, if you know what those are, type of hair extension, and especially popular in the Black community. And I wanted to be that. I wanted to be included, and I wanted to be accepted. And so I did those things to conform. I straightened it. I ended up kind of taking my own twist on it and doing like ribbons and stuff. But yeah, I think now I am ready to just let my hair settle for a second and be in its true state. Because of course there's still colors I want to try, like red, or like a light purple, or even a dark purple, maybe, who knows. But right now I know that I want to prioritize my scalp health and give it a break, because I really was at it since August. So that's 4 months of back to back. And now, mind you, I was still being thoughtful. I was doing the bond builder treatments. I was using a sensitive scalp bleach. I was using a scalp protector as well. And then I was also doing the hair mask. So I really was taking as much care as I could, and also giving my hair about a month in between bleaching services, and giving a break if I had to bleach it twice, giving it at least 24 hours to heal so that my hairline could also rest. And realizing too that I could bleach the hairline last, because that is the most sensitive and vulnerable part of the head for me. So yeah, I think, well, not I think, I'm looking forward to 2026. I'm looking forward to trying new things still, of course, but I think the responsibility of like hairdos and hairstyles is something that I want to take on for myself, as to not be disappointed by barbers, because I couldn't always get to my original barber who first cut my hair. And the cool thing about that is last year made 2 years of me having a buzz cut or very short hair. And the coolest part is that I was able to go back to the same barber who cut my hair down that low for the first time to get it cut again. And so that was a really cool, unique experience that I cherish and I hold near and dear to my heart, because he changed the trajectory of everything for me. He allowed me to embrace this new side of myself and this new found confidence with this low haircut. And I never would have thought that I would have embraced just having short hair. But I'm so happy that I have, because I remember as a kid literally breaking down over the fact that I had to get my ends clipped and my hair was like not past my shoulders or not past my like chin. So especially with shrinkage, if you have curls, shrinkage is a killer. So yeah, I'm just thankful for every opportunity that passed me last year and changed me for the better, for the worse, whatever it may be. I learned a lot, and I'm ready to not only apply those things to real life now in 2026, but also continue going after whatever it is that I want. And I hope that whoever is watching right now, if you're watching right now, you do the same. You don't short yourself. You don't shoot yourself down before you even get a chance to like make a shot. Like, just go for it. I think that's the biggest thing I learned last year. Just go for it, because I would rather be rejected for trying than to be in my head like, dang, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if? I know what happened. I know what went down when I tried. And if I liked it, amazing. And if I didn't, oh well. I pivot, I try again, and then go from there. So there's beauty in trying, there's beauty in rejection. Happy New Year. I can't wait for it. And also, wait. I just gotta say too, I'm excited to see Ariana Grande this year in concert, wherever I end up seeing her. I'm not tied down or married to the idea of seeing her in Chicago. I am just excited to see her, period. And I don't know, it's been so long since I have seen her perform live. March 14th, 2017, I saw her performing at the United Center in Chicago for the Danish Woman World Tour. And it was an amazing experience. Mind you, I had just, 11 days prior, gotten my tonsils out. So I could not scream. So shout out to my mom for being in room one and screaming for me. But I was levitating out of those seats, because Miss Ponytail, no, just kidding. Miss Grande delivered. She delivered nothing short of outstanding vocals, amazing performance, top tier choreo, and just the energy was palpable in that place. And I'm so thankful for her for going on tour again and feeding us. I was supposed to go to Sweden World Tour, and I still am bitter about it. I had broke my ankle and just everything had went wrong. But you know what? This is my time to shine. This year I'm seeing her, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, that was me reflecting on 2025 and what I did, what I appreciated, what I enjoyed, what I look forward to this year. Slightly, reasons why I did stuff. And yeah, I am not my past decisions. Neither are you. The future is ours, and you don't have to be tied down to who you were yesterday or even a minute ago. So I guess just go out there and be the person you want to be. To be honest, what else do you have to lose? Spoiler alert, probably nothing. So, anyways, I can end it here. Happy New Year. If you're watching this, thank you so much. And if you like what you heard, if you resonate with anything, please like, please subscribe.